Welcome, everybody, and thank you for tuning in for another live stream with us. This is Phoebe from Yasutomo, and of course, Karen Elaine, also from Yasutomo. Um, Today, we're going to be playing with our Niji watercolor pencils that Karen has displayed so beautifully on her desk. And of course, she's going to be using some other things from the Yasutomo line, some water brushes. I spy some of our paper, a little watercolor set over there. So we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff today. So before I turn it on over, I just wanted to remind you all to type in any questions that you might have into the comments box. I'll do my best to answer there, or I'll be reading out your questions to Karen. And we'll also have a running list of products that Karen's using or mentioning. If she mentions any other artists, links, anything at all, I'll update all of that in the description box to the video. And after this live stream ends, it'll take maybe a minute or so to process, and then the recording will be available on YouTube. So you can all watch it again at your leisure anytime after this. And that's it from me. So I'm going to turn it on over. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Phoebe. So I did my nails for everybody today. I just thought it'd be, I don't know, maybe to match the paints or whatever I'm doing today. But I wanted to just tell you that I was actually telling Phoebe just a moment ago how relaxing this week has been getting ready for this live stream because it's just keeping it really simple down to just watercolor pencils, one brush, and some paper and just having fun. And I kind of came up with some techniques that I wanted to share with you, but I first wanted to talk to you really briefly. I don't want to get into the boring part, but I kind of went nuts and I did a deep dive into all the brands of pencils that are out there. Um, you know, uh, it was just, I wanted to see how Niji's stacked up to the other brands. And so I feel like I've got a lot of education this way just by trying different brands and doing swatching, which was also a very relaxing thing. And there's actually I never want to bash a brand. I'm not going to, but I was really surprised at how I'm going to just say how decent these Crayolas were compared to the Prismacolor. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Prismacolor, I was really disappointed. But otherwise, the rest of the stuff, I just found I figured that for the price point, these pencils are going to do what they're going to do. So what happens with the watercolor pencils, which is different than, and you can ask me about these brands if you'd like. I mean, but I want to explain. So what's in a watercolor pencil is different, of course, than a wax or oil-based pencil, right? I mean, it's kind of a it's just they're pigmented, but they're in a binder. They're in a different binder than like your watercolor paints, and they have sort of a kind of a cross between a pencil and a watercolor. But these pigments are meant to dissolve in water. Just depends on how you want them to dissolve, and I'm going to kind of talk about that because all of the pencils I tried. Every single brand, including the fancy one, and one that's over $5, it's like $5.20 a pencil. They all do this, they all leave a mark in the what you would maybe call scratching. They all leave a mark on the paper. At least I had, that's what I, every single one. Some more than others, but I just wanted to let you know, don't be discouraged. Actually use that as a creative, something that you can take advantage of rather than wishing that it wasn't there. But I'm going to just show you the ways that I do it so that if I don't want that mark to be there, I know how to fix that too. So I just had fun making all these little botanicals. So I'm going to show you today how I do my leaves, which I think you've seen before, but I'm going to do them again. I'm going to do some flowers, 4 and 5 petal flowers. I'm going to do some of these. This is just a new little thing. I just sort of started to, I don't know, I just started relaxing and making these little, I don't know, they're botanically plants. I don't even know what they are. I just made them up. They're ferns. We'll call them ferns. I'm going to show you how to do that too. And I'm going to show you, yeah, just different things. I'm going to just kind of start creating is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how also I do pencil using the pencil as a drawing tool and then using watercolor. So I want to get started. So I'm going to just move all this stuff out of the way. But these are the little goodies I've been working on all week, having lots of fun. So hi, everybody. Oh, wonderful. So we've got neighbors. I've got someone from Green Valley, about an hour from me. Hi, Kathy. Wanda from Petoskey, Michigan. Everyone, hi from Norway. Hi, Anita. It's nice to see. Well, I can't see you, but it's nice to know you're here. And Elka, and there's all kinds of uh, familiar people here. So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to use this. Now, you can use this. We have the cold press or hot pressed. Now, this is a hot press that's a little different than the hot press like an Arches paper. It does have some tooth to it. It actually has a little texture, a little bit less texture than the cold press that we have. You can see, if you can see, if I turn them, I don't know if you can see it, but the hot press still has a little texture, and the like an Arches would have a really smooth surface. I'm going to use this paper today because I'm really finding it's my favorite for the colored pencils. So when you're taking the paper sheets off of this, you just tear it off the gummed side and we can get started. Now, I love these pencils because they come in this little thing, this tube. But, and I find if it's great in the beginning, you can use this and then you can use this for water. Take the lid, fill it with water, and now you've got a little go-to thing. This is 36 colors, all colors of the rainbow, including white and black. I never use black. I don't know. Well, but maybe there's a use for it. I mean, sorry, I never use black, but mostly I never use white because white, the paper is the white. But I'm going to try it today, just playing with it a little. Now, if you don't know about this yet, this is called the Niji roll, and the Niji roll is a wonderful roll up a little thingy ding. What nice. It's a wrap, and it fits these colored pencils perfectly. And what I like about this is no matter how short, it can get pretty short, and you can use them. This one, once you start sharpening, in the, after I don't know how often you use them, but then after a while, they're going to get too short for this container. So eventually, you'll want to stick them in something like this. And I like this because it's like a palette. I get to see all the colors in front of me. I'm not like, fishing for something in a pouch or it's really nice. And you can arrange them in any way you want, but I just sort of do it by the rainbow. Another thing I'm going to show you is that if you want to use watercolor mediums like gum arabic, uh, granulation medium, even though watercolor pencils tend to have their own granulation, you can. These are all very intermixable. The thing I love about Niji is I'm going to bring this up because they have a really nice mixability uh, component. So that means a lot of these colors make beautiful new colors on their own. And since you know me, I love my little CMYK mixing and watercolor mixing. And so, wow, 80 people are here. Hi, everybody. Wanda. Oh, my goodness. I'd like to say hello to everybody. Well, I'm going to say hello to everybody. I just can't get all your names. Um, I'm kind of like turning my head to go to read the chat. So I'll be checking the chat if there's any questions. And but I wanted to show you the Niji mixability. This is the same. This is the hot press, and I used a blue and a yellow to make this green. I was able to get very smooth transitions in these colors, which I uh, found very nice. And it did dissolve very well. And I have a little trick about that. So on this paper, I'm going to show you on the 140-pound rough, this was a Arches paper. On the rough paper, what happens is it kind of has those peaks, right? And so it picked up a lot of pigment on the peaks and didn't go into the valleys of the paper. And it just made a really obvious, it looked like it didn't dissolve at all. And when you take the paper on another swatch here, if I can show you, another little swatch, my Niji swatch, there we are. This is with the cold press, this is with the smooth, or the hot press. See how it's just smoother, you're getting a smoother lay down of color because you don't have those peaks and valleys, so you get a soft blend. So really your paper has a lot to do. It's going to be your experience with the watercolor pencils are going to have a lot to do with the paper you use. So I'm just mentioning this good old good old paper here, hot press 5x7. It's perfect size to do all your things. Another thing I like to use, if you want to not just color directly with your pencils, you can use something like this. This Carandache makes this. It's a palette with kind of rough plastic thing. But I found if you don't want to buy one of these, a piece of gessoed, I just gessoed this, what it is, a mixed media paper. I just put some gesso over it a few days ago, and this can be used as a palette as well. So um, definitely postcards would be awesome. Definitely, these are great postcards. Oh, and they also fit in a frame. 5x7 is a real common size. So, and some of these I've masked off a piece here, and also I've got this freeform one. So I'm going to show you the first thing. I think since we've got like all right, 45 minutes or so, 50 minutes to do all the techniques I told you I was going to do. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to talk about how I uh, do all these things with those techniques because it's really fun. So I'm first going to start with the leaves because it's kind of like a very fun, simple practice. I'm just going to do some, maybe a couple of leaves. I'm going to pick this olive green color. I guess this is an olive green. The only thing Niji doesn't tell you what colors they are. So you're going to have to be creative and make up the colors of your on your own. Like when you're swatching it, this is fun. You just take it and go, this is this color. So it could be called an olive green. So you can make up your own colors. And that's basically, unless there's some, well, unless they named them somewhere. I don't see them anywhere on the package
I think
or,
we do have a color chart online,
oh,
but
cool.
like Karen said, it's not on the pencil, so really you could call them whatever you want.
I think it'd be fun to name them ourselves. People, I think it's fun. We've got, somebody else names them. I mean, why not? We can call it whatever we want. I calling this olive green. I could call this citrine. I can call this umber. I mean, it's all up to you. Whatever, what speaks to you that way. So I'm going to take this pencil and I'm going to start. So when you're doing this, you make sure your pencils are sharp, as sharp as possible. They come pre-sharpened, but they kind of have a dull, they're not that sharp. I like a nice sharp pencil, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you, this looks like a beast, but I like this one. It doesn't chew up, this one's already sharp, but it doesn't chew up your pencils as much as some electric pencils. It's battery, or it's rechargeable, I think. Or is it, yeah, it's rechargeable, I think. Yeah, there's a recharging C USB-C port, something I got off Amazon, Afmat. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. But also, you can use just plain old, handheld pencil sharpeners. This one's a cool one. It's a little ratcheting one. It's by Ratcheta, and they have different ones, but it makes it sharpening really easy. You only have to go a couple times. But having a little pencil sharpener in your stash, having a water brush, if you don't know, if you haven't tried the water brush yet, these are fantastic for watercolor pencils. And today I'm also going to use my fusion brushes because fusion brushes have a little bit more stiffness than, let's say, a Princeton or, some of these like the Princeton, very soft. I would go with for watercolor pencils, I'd go for a slightly more durable brush tip, because you're going to be kind of scrubbing a little bit here and there. So anyway, I got all my stuff. Great for travel. You don't need a lot of things. So with this, I'm going to do maybe 3 leaves, and then I'll do my botanicals, and then I'll do some flowers. And if you have any requests, then of course we'll go from there. So what I do is I start with the vein or the main stem, and I'm just going to kind of draw a line, slightly curvy line. And I'm going to take the same color, and I'm just going to make like a little, it looks like a skirt. I don't want but I just kind of make a little out of the same color. All right. And then I'm going to take another color. Like, let's see, what color can I make? Oh, I'm going to make this green, or not green. It's kind of a gold color. I'm going to make another color just coming out, just kind of gently coloring so you can see how that. looks, it's just very simple. It looks almost like a little, I don't know what to call that. Anyway, that's it. And if I wanted to do a third color, why not? I could. I could do a third color. I'm going to use a golden, like a golden yellow. Looks like a canary yellow. And I'm just laying down the colored pencil, just nice and nice lay down a color. Now I'm going to use my water brush first, and then I'll kind of pull the water. Whoops! I just dropped the lid. There it went. So I've got my water brush. I've had this forever. I've got water in there. It's always good to have a little towel or something to squeeze the water out just to get it, started. And if you think I should have I think I might I'm going to bring this just a little closer so you can see better. There, okay. So what I've got is this is loaded with water, and I'm going to just take my brush, lay it kind of on its side, and I'm going to squeeze some water out, and I'm just going to kind of come along and drag that paint all the way, and I could shape the um, leaf by just pulling pigment out. And I'm just kind of scrubbing it along. This will make a very delicately colored, just a nice soft leaf. And what's nice about this, and then I really want to put a little bit of color on that too, just to make it look natural. Now I can leave it like this, or if I want to add more color, I think I want to add some more of that olive green color. And instead of drawing into it, I don't want to do that. I'm going to take some of this pigment, and I'm going to take it off the tip of my colored pencil.
And when you were drawing with the pencils on the paper, Elke was asking, how hard are you applying pressure?
Medium pressure, kind of light to medium pressure. Think that's a good question. So you're not just digging into the paper. You want to kind of light to medium, enough to get the color down, but kind of go over it. You can, you know, light pressure and layer a little bit if you want to have a more concentrated color. So I'm just kind of putting that dark green a little bit, just sort of tapping it into the tips, and I can also tap it into areas I want to make it look like if I want to add little spots, like if these are fall leaves or something, I can add little dark areas and then let that spread, because this will spread and it will dry beautifully. And I like that the line that I made is spread soft, a little softer than the original. I like that. Now I'm going to do another one, but this is going to be just a different color. So I'm going to do let's see, I was going to do blue or something. Let's see, or turquoise. Let's do with turquoise. Basically, I'm going to kind of mix, I might even use a blue. Excuse me. I'm going to use a yellow. Okay, and maybe this gold color, the gold. So I don't have a straight green, you notice? So I'm going to try a little color mixing using these pencils while making a leaf, which is fun. Now, yes, thank you for asking that. Let's see. Inks. Yeah, that was fun. Yes, the alcohol inks, we had a lot of fun. So I'm going to take the turquoise color, and I'm going to make my first line. And I'm going to just start here, and I'm going to kind of do this. I press fairly hard. Of course, it's not sharp enough. Let me just sharpen that real quick. You really want a nice sharp line for the beginning of your leaf. So I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to make like a little sort of an S curve. Okay. I guess it's sort of just a slight curve. And whatever length you make it, you can actually bring it out farther. You can bring this a little bit, you can make that thicker, like that. And now I'm going to take this is just like a regular ultramarine blue. And I'm going to take my little medium, I'm just laying it down kind of a medium, just medium amount, not scratching too deep into it. I'm going to also take this gold, and I'm going to go right next to it. I'm not really going over it. I'm kind of blending the two just a little bit. You could see I'm kind of putting some of that yellow next to the blue and kind of overlapping it very little. And now I've got the yellow, the bright lemon yellow. I haven't done this before. I thought it'd be fun to try. Of course, I like to experiment with everybody, right? Okay, now I'm going to take the water brush, I'm gonna make sure it's clean. That's the thing. You want to make sure, see, that was not clean. So it's always good to clean it. If you have water in it, which I have some, you squeeze it, and then let the water clean the brush. But now it's ready. And I'm going to load it with a little bit of water by pressing so that I can see that water come down into the brush, but not so much as just dripping wet. That's what I like about water brushes. You can control the amount of water. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to start where that blue is, and I'm just going to see what kind of gorgeous green I can get. And I think I am getting a gorgeous green. Yes. So I'm just going to kind of drag it through a little bit. And really you want to scrub kind of almost it's a little different than when you're doing watercolors because I'm kind of being a little more aggressive in the way I push my brush down, and I'm actually kind of moving the paint around a little bit more than I would do with my watercolors. So that's really gorgeous. It kind of has a nice green, but if I want to add a little more yellow to it, I'm going to just take a little of this yellow, and I'm going to just drop a few here and there where I kind of feel like I want to add a little more brightness, but not overwhelmingly so. And everything dries lighter, as you know, with watercolors and watercolor pencils. So what looks really dark is going to lighten up a little bit. So I'm going to put that yellow right on that blue line, just kind of make it look more green. And it does exactly that. It looks more green. So there's that technique. And look how granulated. I mean, these aren't dry yet, but I love the way the paint or the colored pencil kind of becomes like a granulating watercolor. And I love granulation. So it's really fun. Now, you can also do things like you could add texture. So I'm going to do, oh, I just hit the mic. All right, I'm going to do another leaf, and I'm going to talk about texture, how you can add texture. So I'm going to do like a fall leaf one here. I'm going to take some brown, and I'm going to just do a leaf. I'm going to start it right here. I'm just going to do a little like, kind of that same curve. And I'm going to just do the little, kind of that little fringe. It looks like a little skirt or a little, I don't know, what would you call that? A little tassel, a little umbrella, whatever that is. And I'm going to take a little orange, and I'm just going to do the same thing, kind of pull just a soft blend. And again, I like that yellow. I'm going to go back to this yellow. I think it's so pretty. It's almost like a orangey yellow. And I'm going to add even one more, the lemon yellow. So you can build and kind of make really fun new colors by doing this. Looks like candy corn almost, doesn't it? So now I'm going to make sure my brush is clean. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just do the same thing, starting at that base, get it nice and wet. You see how I squeeze some water out of that brush? And now I'm just going to kind of shape my leaf going from basically this little skirt part, and I'm going to just shape that leaf up to, and a little bit past the line, okay? So you can even go in there and scrub a little bit. And I like that orange, so when I add a little more orange, instead of me, what I could do that's kind of fun, of course, it's a little wet. I might try the texture on this one just because the texture might work better if I just go over here. So it's still damp, I think, over there. So you can add texture, like you draw right into it if you want. So like this. You can do it while it's wet as well. But just kind of adding, you can draw. That's what's the beauty about colored pencils or watercolor pencils is you can use them as a watercolor, but you can also use them as a drawing for drawing. You can draw your leaf shapes ahead of time if you want. You can even add, like in this one, I want to add a little more green on the end. I can add, this one's still dry. So I'm going to do, that one is dry. So I'm going to take some of this brown color, and I'm going to make some texture into the wet. So you can go wet into wet. And what it does is it's very intense. You see the color is much more intense than the dry into dry. See how much more textured or much more intense. The color is just like melts right off the pencil, which I think is a really beautiful effect. So that's another way you can go. You can always do that. So that I think these are really fun. Another way you can do this, you could make a leaf if you want to do, let's say, I'm going to do this turquoisey. I think I already did use that once, but I'm going to do it again. Okay, so I'm going to start a leaf, and this time I kind of like to turn my paper around and just kind of give it a, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's kind of a very relaxing to turn it around and move, just create the leaves in a, just sort of think about the design and the placement of the leaf, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to just do another curve like this, okay? And this time I'm going to draw the leaf on the outside. Okay, this is just a little different technique than the other one, okay? There. So I just made my commitment on the shape of it, which is a little bit more scary because, okay, now it's there. I can't, this one I had to paint it out. This one I'm drawing it out. So I'm going to take this yellow color and I'm doing the same thing. I'm making that skirt, but I'm doing it inside the line here, and I'm going to do it on the tip as well. And this is so relaxing and calming. Really, there's not, you know, you're not worrying about things drying. You're just taking your time, playing with color. I'm going to use this kind of lime green here. I'm just going to make that a light kind of going very lightly, actually. This is a light touch right now. And you can actually color in a whole thing if you want. That's another thing. You can take this and keep adding color. Why not? Let's just try this. There's the yellow. I won't color the whole thing, but just if you want to, you can pre-color it and then maybe go somewhere and paint, do the water later. It's just something that's kind of fun. I'm also going to take that yellow and I'm going to bring it to the edge of the green just a little bit. That's just one way you can do. You can build, you can add layers. I'm going to just put a little of this green, dark green here. So you can layer it just like you would watercolor, but you're doing it with your colored pencil. And then when you activate the pencil with water, you're going to have a completely different thing. I'm just putting that green in there, and a little green in there. Now let's see what happens when we get water on it. Okay, so I'm going to just clean that brush. And now I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm just going to start in that where the color is kind of concentrated, and I'm going to pull that color out with my brush. Yes. Now this has a more obvious line than these, so it's a different look. So it's kind of up to you what kind of, you can try them both. I think they're both really pretty. And I'm just sort of scrubbing a little bit. I've got the water on there, and I'm just going to pull that, sort of coax that color out. Okay, that's staying within the lines of stuff. In a little bit, I'm going to go a little crazy because I'm being very coloring in the lines kind of thing. But going forward, well, as I get into this demo, I'm going to get messier or just a little looser. But just a good way to kind of warm up. You're trying different colors. Now I'm putting that olive green just in one side of the leaf just to give it a little more, I don't know, dimension or darkness. And I'm doing this while it's wet. I could have waited till it dried, but I'm just doing it this way. There, I'm gonna let it dry now. But that's a really pretty way to do it to kind of accomplish another shape. And it might be easier for you to make a shape ahead of time like this. All right. Oh, so I'm just reading particular water paper. Okay, so Janet is asking what kind of paper. Yes, I prefer a cold press to a hot press watercolor paper for the colored pencils. As I mentioned earlier, that the rougher the paper, the more valleys and, it has like those raised areas, and that causes. So I use this one, by the way. This is the hot pressed, and it's NHP5. That's the name of it. Just so you can see, this is a hot press, and see how you see all the little pencil marks. And really, if you use a different paper, you will see less of the pencil marks. And I was going to grab whatever it is. Here it is, but you don't see the pencil marks as much when you work. There it is. It's right in front of me. So it shows pencil marks. I have a few and I noticed in the Niji set, there's a couple of about 3 colors, and I actually have earmarked them. that don't like to dissolve as much for some reason. So what I did is I took them out and I marked them. See this one, this one. There's actually 4 colors, I think. Um, I just kind of marked them so that I don't go nuts. There it is, the purple. I'm just going to put these aside to show you. These do not dissolve as well, but that doesn't mean, I mean, that doesn't dissolve as well when you're coloring directly on the paper. So what I use, how I dissolve these, I'd rather dissolve these by doing this way, by wetting it first. Now this one I noticed is this got olive green and it's dissolved fine. So, I don't know. Forget I even said that. I don't know. It seems to be fine. So you can, but the ones that where they dissolve a little, less so. Here I'm darkening this area, by the way, and I'm doing it while it's still wet. So it's really coming in really dark, and I just think that's stunning. Yes, so pretty. And I'm just going to add a little more dark. Maybe on one side here, I'll just put that kind of edge it a little bit, and you can play with this. There we go. I'll leave that like that. I can overdo it too. You know me. I'll just keep going and going. There we go. So there's that. Those are those. Okay, the leaves. I kind of covered the leaves in the way I do those, I think, right? I hope. If you had any questions on the leaves, um, oh, hi. So Wendy and Riley, yay. Glad you're here. Okay. So now I've got these leaves. Now let's do the next one. I want to show you the flowers because the flowers are really fun. I think I'll do the botanicals on that one later. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to grab a sheet um, so I can do just some simple flower ideas. And then you can take it from there, spend your weekend making flowers or, your Friday night, whatever you want to do. But these are really fun. So I'm going to so flowers, you can make them any color you want because they're your flowers. Now I'm going to make mine blue, or my first one blue. So the way I do the flowers, so I'm going to do the first one is a 4-petal flower. And I'm going to make little triangles, like kind of like the leaves, they're like little, whatever they are. Call them little triangles or little skirts or little V's that have been colored in. So you're going to basically do this for your 4-petal flower. You're going to just take it and make these marks. Very simple. You can make them wide or you can make them narrow. It just depends on how fluffy you want your flower. And then you can add a color, like if you want to make it, oh, I'm going to just mixing it up a little. I was going to do all blue, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this red. It's kind of a pinky, it's a very pinky red. I like that. So I'm just going to do this. So you can see I'm just sort of building the petal out. Very same idea that I'm dealing with that I dealt with the leaves, right? Except I didn't draw a line. I just made 4 of those, the kind of evenly spaced apart. Now the fun part begins. Well, actually, what I'll do is I'm going to do before I wet them, I'm going to just do my division of color. I'll show you how I color them in. So the 5 one, the one I do for 5 petals, is I'm going to move it over here. And I'm just going to do 1. So you got to kind of space them a little closer. 1, 2, 3. There we go. A little bit trickier because you've got 5 and you've got not as easy to space, but just do it. And flowers aren't perfectly symmetrical anyway, so you don't have to make them perfect. There, 5 petals, right? There's the 5 little marks, sort of like a star. So if you think about a star, and I'm going to take some of this burgundy. I'm going to just kind of make that a little bit, go out a little bit. And I'm kind of pushing down medium pressure to kind of a little harder, I think, this time. I'm being trying to push down a little bit harder. And then this one is this pretty little lavendery pink color, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that out. So I sort of like doing this 3 colors because it really looks beautiful. More beautiful because you're really getting a mix that makes it unusual looking compared to just coloring one color. So there's the 5 petal right there. So you got your 4 petals and your 5 petals. So now you just need, and I'm going to use my brush. Oh boy, that was not the big one. Okay, that's the bigger one. So I've got the Fusion number 4. I could have used the water brush too, but I'm just going to use the Fusion. I'm going to grab my water and I'm going to just load it up. I'm going to do the four petal one. Take your brush and the tip should point right to the center, and you kind of start to scrub and then you lay it down. This you can be as loose or as controlled as you want. This is where I'm just going to kind of be loose here. I'm not trying to draw a petal out all the way. I'm just going to kind of let this my brush kind of make the shape of it. And the bigger your brush, the bigger size your petals will be. I can see that this is way bigger. This petal is way longer than that one, but I'm not going to worry about it. It takes practice to get that symmetry. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, you can just kind of make it look like it meant it. So I'm just sort of scrubbing and creating this petal shape, building it up from there. And each one's going to look different. Oops, and it's okay if they touch each other. There we go. So that's 4 petals. And then these look really much better when they dry, after they dry. But I'm going to just do a little, I'm going to add some color here just for fun so you can see the edge a little bit more. You can also splatter, by the way. If you want to splatter, I'm just going to do it right now. See how I'm splattering on there? You can do that with your colored pencil by just flicking the pencil with a wet brush. And I think that's fun too. So I'm just adding a little bit of water just to kind of show you how it spreads. So you see how that long petal, the rest of them are really short, but that's all right. It's kind of like an orchid. Now I'm going to take this one and do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of draw it out. And I've noticed that each color is going to act differently, like or spread more easily. This one spread a lot easier than the other one. I'm just going to I don't even need to refill I think my brush has plenty of water on it, probably for most of the petals. No, I'm going to go ahead and get some more water. And you can just kind of make you can make a heart shape if you want to make your petals sort of a heart shaped. I'll show you that in a second, actually. So this is this one. This is the 5-petal flower, which I think is very pretty. And I like the five-petal flower. To me, looks more like a flower. There you go, like that. Now the next one for the heart shape, I'm just going to do all blue this time. So I'm going to take I'm going to make little hearts. So they're going to be like little hearts, like so. You see how I'm just going to do, maybe I'll do a 4-petal. So 4 hearts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very simple. See how they just look like little hearts? I'm going to add, let's see, what other color can I do? This pink, I'm going to do pink. And I'm just going to add, I'm going to kind of fill in the heart a little bit, like so. You can see I kind of went inside like that. And just as much pigment or as little as you want. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my little heart-shaped petals. And what I'm doing, instead of kind of dragging it out to make it flat, I'm going to just pull it out like this. Pull it out so that you can see the brush, just the brush stroke. See how it's heart, it's its own heart. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Kind of drag it out so that it looks like a heart. And you don't have to make them perfectly straight. They can be kind of wonky, curved, however you want this to be. And then the last one is like this. Okay, so that's kind of how I do those. I'm going to show you my examples probably a little bit better. I'm kind of rushing through this one because I do want to show you the cool ones. So here's a couple of pages of the flowers. Let's see, where's the other ones? They're in there somewhere. But you can see, oh, here's the blue themed only. And I haven't done anything to these except using the pencil. You can then, after you're finished, you can do like outlines with a pen. You can add highlights in the middle. You can draw lines. So you can, these are just your basic beginning flower shapes. Now then, I'm going to show you now because I want to make sure I don't, these take a little longer. There's actually two techniques I'm going to show you and I don't want to miss them. So I'm going to show you how I use a water, this is the gesso. Let's see, I'm going to do this one. I'll use this because I've got some stuff left. So to do, all right. I'm going to do it on this one because it's more appropriate for that one. So look how those have dried. Aren't those pretty? I love that. So I'm going to take a pigment, the Detail Master pigment liner, and I'm going to use a number 3. You can use any one you want, but I'm going to use the number 3 because it's got a nice fine line. And I'm going to make let's see, I'm going to do it starting here. Oh, heck, I don't know. I think I'll start it over here. So I'm going to start a line and it's going to be kind of wavy like this. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to make little kind of branches. And I just realized I'm kind of going to run into that flower, into that leaf there. So I'm going to try to not get it into that leaf. So I'm kind of curving these, kind of like little curved, little, they're not branches, but that's what they look like. And I'm just going to leave it like that. And now then what I like to do, sounds a little weird, but instead of just a plain old line like that, I like to take my pen and I just sort of thicken where the main branch is, and I kind of like do a little, just this kind of reminds me of the neurographica, where you take these little curves out. You kind of do a little bit where you create this dimension by just drawing a little bit in these little areas where the branch and the leaf begins. Branch, yes, right in this little area. And what is that called? An elbow? I have no idea. But and I kind of thicken this a little bit. Yeah, now that's all I do. You could make it a little thicker if you want by going one more time. Ooh, I went a little too thick. All right, that's all right. There you go. That's fine. So now, here comes the fun part. Basically the same thing. I'm going to take, where's that gorgeous? I was going to show you that, but I'll wait. Where's my olive green that I love so much? I just love that color. Here it is. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a little skirt. Same thing, just like I was doing my leaves, except now I have a little line. I have something to, basically a drawing to work with. I'm just going to do these little tiny, small little skirts, and everybody's so quiet. So, but just hopefully you're having fun. Maybe if it would be great if you're drawing along with me. I think that'd be fun. Okay, so I've got my little skirt things. Now I can add a color. I think it would be so much fun is maybe to add a little turquoise, just because it's a beautiful color, and why not? It's my leaf or my whatever I'm making. So just gonna add a little kind of a turquoise blue, and just to kind of make that sort of blended look. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. Okay, now this is the fun part. So I'm going to take my smaller brush, this is the 3, and I'm going to just go ahead and load it with water, and I'm doing the same thing. But this time, like I did with these, except I'm not going to bring them out like leaves. I'm going to just make them rounded. But you can make them any shape you want. But I'm going to do like a round, sort of like a kind of like a paddle shape. And I'm just going to do it by taking my brush, sort of getting it started in the center or at the beginning, and I'm just going to bring this out to as far as I don't want to touch this other leaf. There it is. So you can see I made a cute little small, I don't know what those are called, but anyway, kind of remind me of, I'm trying to remember those, there's something like a succulent it reminds me of, but it's just a made up thing. I have no idea. Nothing like this in nature that I know of, but you can make them like wonky looking or like shaped like a real leaf. I think that'd be gorgeous. But what happens is this translucency of the watercolor pencil over the pigmented pen, it just really makes for a striking look. And with watercolor pencils, I tend to be much lighter. I mean, my colors are going to be softer and lighter because when I use watercolors, I tend to go heavy-handed. And this is just a great way to kind of be a little softer with your colors and have a softer, more delicate look, especially with botanicals, because we don't want to go too heavy. A lot of us, I know in the beginning, or many times I still do it. Watercolor, I tend to just want to use a lot of pigment. And I really sometimes going light is better. There, like this, like just a nice soft. So I'm just kind of rounding it out. You can see I'm just kind of shaping it by taking my brush and kind of pulling out the paint or the watercolor pencil pigment. And I'm just making these sweet little shapes. They look like, I don't know what they are, but they're neat. And you can make little hearts like this. But they're just so cute when they have this little branch that they're connected to. So that one. I wanted to share that one because that one was really relaxing. I found it kind of addictive. When I did the bookmark a little bit earlier, wherever I put it, I did this one today. And I posted it on my Instagram. Let's see, there it is. This one.
Our very knowledgeable audience is saying it looks like eucalyptus, by the way.
Thank you. And you know what? And I'm from California. I should know better. It does kind of look like eucalyptus. Yeah, I should start. Yeah, eucalyptus have those round leaves. So this, I want to sort of explain. So with watercolor pencils, I don't know how I could, excuse me, how I could get this dark. So what I did is I did my first leaf, I did them like this, the way I just showed you. And then I did both of these the same way. And then I went in with regular watercolor and I kind of deepened it by a layer of regular watercolor. That's how I was able to get that darker. And then I added some gold. I want to show you. It's a preview. This gold. So we have this gold coming out. It's a Sumi ink. It's called Sumi ink. But it's just this, I mean, the gold, this isn't what it comes in, but this is a glass jar I put it in. But look at that gold. Hello, hello, hello. So this gold, I have tried lots of gold in my life. And I'm now obsessed with this gold, and it's going to look like, I'm going to give you a preview. Is that it's okay, TV? I don't know if that's it or not. That's the other stuff. Anyway, they'll come in jars like this, and there's going to be a lot of it. They'll come in, these are 2 ounce, I believe. And I put them in this, but the gold, the new gold that we're going to be, it's phenomenal. It's gorgeous. And what I did was after this paint dried, I took the gold and I used one of these and I shook it. You always want to shake it before mix up the little mica parts. And I made these little gold dots. And I might even add a few more just to show you. So I'm going to just show you how I did them. I just made these little gold dots and what's nice about them, they kind of dry raised a little bit. There we go. I like adding more gold, right? Can never have too much of gold. Little hints of it, but the dot pen, you can use it with a brush, of course. You can use a dip pen. You could use all calligraphy pen, but I love this little dot thing because it's easy to clean. I don't have to deal with much. I had ooh, that's looking good now. See, that kind of takes away that dark, kind of highlights a little bit that dark. It's just a little too dark. Hope that, just thought I'd share with this now. This, Phoebe, when is this coming? When is this paint coming out?
We're gonna be getting it by, we think September, October. So then after we get it, it's gonna start hitting retail stores as soon as they place their order, then we can get it out to them. So like end of year.
Great. So
Yeah. And what do
wonderful.
you call that tool, by the way, that blue
This is
one?
just a plain old, oh boy. They call these, oh God, burnishing tools. They used to be for like when we used to do rub off lettering, rub on lettering. Um, some people call them dotting tools, but that's not what they're called. They're just like they come in like different sizes, but this one would be for like embossing. If you wanted to put it through a stencil, it pushes the paper around. It might be called an embossing tool. I'm sorry, I wish Take a look
No,
at
that's
that.
okay. Just anticipating questions. Pat said embossing pen, so I'm gonna check that out too. Scoring
Might be.
tool.
Yeah.
And then somebody did ask again what the gold is. That's a sneak peek of a product that's coming. So stay
Yes.
tuned. We'll definitely be showing lots more of
I
that when
had
we
to
get.
share because I just couldn't help myself. I wanted you. Yeah, I've been having fun with it. I know it's not here yet, but it is a gold that we'll be getting 8 colors. But the gold, I mean, all the colors are phenomenal. But the gold is to me, it's like I can even, it's even in the, oh, I can see it on my table. It is so highly pigmented. It is so sparkly. It's just the right gold. It's not like it's not that brassy gold that I see. It's a very rich, gorgeous gold, and I'm so excited. And it becomes like water resistant after these dry. Yeah, and oh yeah. So I can't wait. And I know I just teased you with it, but it is really exciting that we're getting this stuff. So wanted to share that. So anyway, sorry to tease you, but not sorry. It's just so beautiful. And the style, it is a stylus, and it will probably pop up on, let's see, I'm gonna look, got my whole stash of them. There's
Yeah, and I
actually,
found pretty similar by the same brand that made the blue one Karen's got. I think it's the same thing, a different color. So I did put a link for that in the description.
so you can even buy, like, if you wanted to get nuts, like for a while I was doing dotting, the dotting with acrylic paints. You can see there's all kinds of ways to do dotting. You got this was a dotting tool. But these from years ago, I was using this as a burnishing tool, or you can score with it. It's actually great for scoring because it won't damage, it doesn't scratch your paper. So if you just put a ruler and score. So this is a Fiskars. These are both Fiskars. The other ones, look at these big things. These are for big dots. So you can really kind of you'll find these. You'll find them. You just know that they have a ball, a different size ball on both ends. So, and seems to be like a good size. These are maybe too small, tiny, tiny, but they're meant for embossing and for, manipulating paper. And if somebody comes up with a name and tells me, I'll be excited because I feel like I'm having a brain, what a brain freeze on that. Okay, so look how gorgeous. I just love this. This is so cute. Came out really pretty nice. Now, what was I? Oh, I was going to show you the next one would be, what was I going to show you? I know I was going to show you something. I wanted to make sure I showed you that. Oh, yes. Okay. Next. So, last but not least, this one is fun because if you are kind of really adventurous and you want to be adventurous, or you just want to loosen up, like loosen up. I've got to grab this thing. I can't find it. I tell you, this desk becomes it's terrible. There it is. If you want to loosen up like this, I'm going to show you how I did these. I just think these, to me, is so much fun because you don't have to do lettering in there, but this way of drawing and painting. So I'm going to show you how I did these. Okay, I'm going to make a new one. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take the blue and that green. Well, maybe if I have a navy blue or a brown even. I'll do brown. It's funny. I don't do browns and stuff. I don't know why I should. There's nothing wrong with brown. I'm going to use it. So I'm going to start by just drawing start with a leaf thing. So I'm just going to kind of do my wonky leaves, kind of just kind of go like out like this, and then I might go off the page, off like this. Now, whoops. Now this has been masked with the masking tape, the washi tape. And if you want to know what kind of tape it is. This is called Nitto tape, Nitto. I like it because it's transparent. It's pretty good about keeping, of course, I don't know if I messed it up there, but and this little thing, okay, so it comes like this, and there's this cute little thing that I found on Amazon, of course. I think Kokyu makes these. They're little washi tape cutters, and they are so cool because when you try to take washi tape and cut it, these little guys, oops, I wrote them wrong. These actually will cut a nice, perfect, they'll cut a perfect thing. So it's like a tape dispenser, like a Scotch tape dispenser. See, perfect. I love it. So I just wanted to I don't know, share that because it's a neat little gadget. We all have to have gadgets. It makes us have more fun creating. I'm just gonna put that there in case I messed that up. And let's see, I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna go out like this. And the looser you are and the less thinking you do ahead of this, you're better off. Because I'm just gonna kind of do this. I'm just making circles, like kind of like circles like that. I'm gonna take the green, I'm gonna do the same. And I'm also gonna make my little fun things here. And maybe this time instead I could maybe do some lines, like kind of some drawing. I'm going to draw first. Just drawing some lines, and it's nice to do a sharp using a sharp pencil. Trying to be less perfect. I'm trying to actually be wonky here. So I'm going to make my lines. I was going to say I was going to make my wines a little wonky. So it's Friday. I know it's Friday, but it's my wines. So I'm making these, you can see I'm just kind of making them on purpose. I'm just sort of varying the pressure actually of my pencil a little bit so that I can get like a difference in weight of the line. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to do this. This is just a very spontaneous kind of painting session. I'm going to make this a little thicker with that green. And then I'm going to take some of that gold color. I might even just kind of maybe just draw fast. I'm not going to go, I'm not really not, it's not meant for to go, methodically and slowly. You really want to kind of loosen up. Just, with the masked edges, loosening up is a good thing. And I'm doing this. You can see I'm kind of creating this little wonky, like, there we go, circle thing. So I just did all that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take maybe some green here, and I might throw a little green in here. Just a little bit right in there because it needs a little more color, I think. So I'm doing that. And I may add some of that turquoise blue because it's so pretty. I haven't used that yet. This is different, the different turquoise. And the Niji watercolor pencils have a nice arrange. They have a nice assortment of reds and pinks, which I think is great, and blues. And there's less of greens, but you don't need them because you can make them with the pinks, with the blues and the yellows. But it has very few neutrals. And I notice with other brands, they do a lot of grays and neutrals and browns, and really the Nijis don't as much. So I like that for that reason. Okay, now I'm going to take my water and I'm just going to start doing just kind of like the way I did before. Just going to do kind of fill, and I don't have to go right inside the line. I can go outside the line a little if I want. It's my picture, right? So you can just basically, you just want to dissolve and activate some of that watercolor. And you can even, if wanted to, you could add metallic watercolors at this point. And I'm just going to do this little thing. I'm going to kind of go around in a circle a little bit like this. And I'm just going to take, oh, it's pretty colors. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of fill that in a little bit, and I'm getting it really loose and wet. Now I'm going to take some regular watercolor, and I'm going to do I'm going to take some Niji watercolor. You can do this with pencils too, but I'm going to do the color this because it's going to go a little faster. As I want some darker colors. I want some dark, maybe, let's see, the phthalo blue, if that's a phthalo blue. I think that is, yeah. And I'm going to take some of this indigo color. I'm just going to kind of mix the indigo and the phthalo together. So I've got like a nice blue. And now I'm going to get a little bold. I'm just going to go, I'm just going to take and I'm going to kind of, you can see I'm going very loosely. And I got to go kind of quickly because when you do a wash, I'm just going to go right over that. This is what I love about this. I'm not trying to fill in the lines so much, or like, I'm just kind of going out quickly. And I'm letting the colors, kind of the colored pencils and the watercolor sort of blend together and do whatever they're going to do. And then it's gonna be fun, I think. And if it isn't, it's just a piece of paper. And you can always repurpose. I always find that I can repurpose most of my watercolors, even if I have to turn them into a weaving or something. there's never, I really find that I don't waste the watercolor paper. So I'm going to take a little bit of that blue and I'm just going to kind of bring that in. And I don't have any white at all, which is fine. I'm not leaving much white at all, but I've kind of made this little field of, like that, colors like that. And it's interesting watching this react to the watercolors kind of reacting to the colored pencil. So I think it's kind of funny. Huh, I just wanted to see, I don't know if I like that or anyway, I just stopped it. So there it is. I'm going to let that sit a little bit. Now I can add some color if I want to add some other colors, maybe this turquoise. That's not a turquoise, this turquoise. And I can make like little textures, like kind of, you can make marks in here. You can make them look perfect, or you can make them look wonky, like little spots, because now I'm just drawing right into the watercolor and it's just nice and really nice. I love what's happening there. You can even take your pencil and make little lines into the wet watercolor, and I think that looks really fun, and it just kind of just brings some texture that you wouldn't have normally. Very soft lines. I like that. That's fun. And you can just keep going or just leave it like this. And I'm gonna just leave it at this point. Now, I could have left some white, but I didn't. I think there's some white right in here. I'm gonna have to let this dry completely. Let's see, I'm gonna add a little, gotta let it dry. That's the thing. Now, you can also do graphite if you want to take a pencil to darken things, or you can use your black pencil, or the gray. These are the only two. So you get these neutrals in the Niji set. You get a couple of browns and rusts colors, but then you only have one gray and the black. I'm not going to use straight black. I'm just going to use a little gray, and I'm going to kind of soften this little, or darken it actually. But it's
And
really a
Karen,
light. Yes.
Patricia was asking, I think you've gotten this question before on another live about your
Uh-huh.
lettering, because she said she loves your hand lettering. And is it a technique you could teach us sometime, or do you have any resources to point
Absolutely.
people?
I can tell you how I developed that lettering style. But if I have time to do it, I don't know if I'll have time. Oops, I won't. But it is, if you want to learn how to make your own lettering that is uniquely your own, but it's really like this one. This is not a font that I developed out of watch. I just basically developed it out of my own handwriting. And the way I did it was I did it through a course that I took from Wendy Solganic. It's called Willa. Let's see, what is it called? If you go to willawanders.com, it's called Love Your Imperfect Letters. And it's a fantastic course. Now, Wendy was a calligrapher. She knows hand lettering like no one else. And she's a beautiful calligrapher, and she does hand lettering, gorgeous hand lettering. And but what I did is my hand lettering it was okay, it wasn't that great. But when I took her course, and it was the best, I don't remember how much it cost, but it was a really valuable course because it really got me to fine tune my lettering, and this is what it is. That's how I developed it, through her Love Your Imperfect Letters course. I really wouldn't want to teach it. I can't teach it. I can share with how I do my letters, but teaching it is in her. She can teach it beautifully, and it's everybody's lettering style is going to be uniquely their own, and that's what's so cool about it. So this one is, I hope that helped. So so now I'm going to let that dry. That was my first layer, and I can go on and do other layers, or I can leave it alone. But I'm going to love removing this, and then I can do my lettering, my quote inside this little spot. And if I want to add, it's a little wobbly right now. It needs to see, it's kind of wobbly. Need to make that completely dry to get it flat before I do my next layer. But there it is. So any more questions? Because it's actually after 3, and I just want to make sure I covered everything for everybody.
No questions, no new questions yet, but we'll let them come in. But people really enjoyed it. And thank you again to everybody because you were super helpful chiming in with like that those leaves looked like eucalyptus, helping us figure out what tool that was that she was using, and just sharing your kind comments. I know people were really enjoying this one as always. Some
Oh,
people
I'm
were
so
drawing
glad.
along with you.
Yay.
Yeah,
It's so much fun on Fridays. I feel like I'm having a party. We're having a party. I look
we
forward
are.
to our Fridays.
We are.
Oh, and I did want to mention, sorry, this because I forgot, but I'm going to show you real quick and then we'll go and then we'll sign off. When you want to make a watercolor palette, let's say you want to just take some pencils, you can just color right onto just color them onto the gesso or that other plastic thing. If you do that, you're putting some pigment on there and you're going to have it ready for when you're ready to make to do some painting. So if you want to do it this way, you can just put all your colors or as many as you want on there like this. And then you can go, let's see, I'm going to grab a piece of paper that I haven't used yet. Here's one. So if you want, then you have your water brush or anything. You can take your water brush or your regular brush. And now I can pick up color. So you can see it kind of, this is going to avoid, that one's not lifting very much. Maybe gesso isn't such a great idea. Of course, I didn't use one that lifted very well. Let me just see. There we go. Whew. Had a moment there. So here's where you can just paint like a normal, so it's like a palette. Then you can use your black and mix that up. So then you have no pencil marks at all if you don't like pencil marks. And you can also make new colors on there. Like I just made this really olive green color by mixing that lime green with the other. So that is a little trick on. Ooh, that's pretty. So you see how soft and that doesn't even look like a watercolor pencil anymore. You don't see the texture or the granulation. So you can get those effects by just creating a palette like that. And this is easy to make these. You can reuse them. I believe you can wipe them off like um, to just putting it, just they might not be pretty after a while, but you can use them again and again. So wipe it off and yep, you can start it again. Use it over and over. So that's just a way you can have a little palette instead of having to buy this thing, which is, no, it's nice. But then this, it doesn't cost you much. You just, if you already have gesso at home and some thick paper, you've got a palette. So I
I
hope that
love
helped.
that trick. And got a few more. We just got Lynn asking if the pencils in the roll are the same as what was in the round container. And yes, Karen just used our Niji roll, which is that really cool.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if you guys hear those sounds. That black like organizer, it has spaces and she put in the Niji watercolor pencil, so just took them from the tube into the roll, super nifty. And then Neela had a question where she was asking how you got the, sorry, I'm gonna actually have to scroll back up to find it again. She asked, how did you get the leaf lines to not move? I think that's what she's asking.
The leaf lines, you mean um like
I'm
these?
not sure if maybe in the most in those ones that you just
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of push hard, but they do move a little. They soften. So, but I kind of push a little harder than when I'm just trying to get just color on there, and I want to have the lines show to stay. But it did move somewhat. See, it's kind of softened there. Um, so, and it depends on the pencil. Like you'll find out in your collection of watercolor pencils, and that's almost all brands, in fact, all of them. None of them leave zero marks when you do your thing. When you do it, none of them. I don't like even the fancy one. I'm going to show you the really expensive one that costs they're like $5 a pencil. They all leave marks. So you really can't avoid it's hard to avoid that. So you can just go with it and enjoy the marks as part of the I don't know where it is. Sorry. It's somewhere. But basically you can just, kind of embrace the marks as a new way to make texture for your creative, whatever you're creating. Because watercolor you've got watercolors. They already do that. They already, you can put concentrated color. But with the watercolor pencil, you've got like a hybrid between drawing and watercolor. And they're fun. They're portable. Like this little roll. I'm gonna just quickly wrap it up. Um, I'm not gonna put them back in any order because what's nice about this, you can see all the colors as they're laid out. Makes it really nice. You don't have to put them in any direction, but I'm doing it this way. So this roll holds 36 colors plus it has some more straps to hold other colors. Oh, or your water brush. Like I've got a little water brush. You can even hold like a pen, if you wanted to hold your pen, or if you wanted to just hold a couple water brushes. It's probably a little too short for the fusions, but perfect for your water brushes because it just holds them like so. And then you've got your all of your colors. And if you have brands, you can mix brands. You don't have to, all colored pencils are pretty much the same diameter, usually very similar. So you get your favorite colors or you decide which ones you really love. You can do that. But here's what I love. So you roll this little baby up, it protects the tips of your pencils, and you can just take it and wrap it and it snaps perfectly like here. It's like it was designed for these colored pencils. And now you've got, a little roll that you can take with you and stick it in your bag and you're good to go.
Perfect.
So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for another awesome live stream. We will I guess look out for your we'll look out for your pictures if you create anything that you were inspired from to create from this live stream. Do tag us. We love to see what you guys create. And make sure that you're following Karen and Yasutomo on Instagram because Karen always does really cute pictures like leading up to our live streams, kind of doing more sneak peeks of what we're about to do in these Fridays live streams. Then sometimes she'll post afterward too, so you can kind of see stuff that she worked on live and see how it ended up. So it's always fun to check that out too.
it's always an adventure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much, and we'll see you here again for the next one. And thank you, Karen.
Thank you. So, yes, today is a celebration. I think someone said celebrate. Absolutely. So, yesterday I got my port out. If anybody didn't know, I am completely finished with treatment and I'm feeling pretty good. Just a little sore from the procedure, but otherwise I'm good. I'm going to even I'm just going to wave and say hello because I'm here. I'm alive. It's been a wild year, but here we are. so,
Hooray!
so
Yes!
I wanted to just
Congratulations, Karen.
thanks, yay! It's like we did it, and thank you. And you guys made it so much better. I mean, I was able to do this and get through this and have fun, during the times that weren't so fun. I was able to have fun and be able to create, and you guys were so patient with me. So thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you have a really good weekend and creative weekend. So I wanted just to pop in and say hello.
Everybody's so sweet. Lots of yays and celebrations in the comments.
Fun.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you. So yes, I'm gonna celebrate. After I clean up and Phoebe and I are gonna chat a little bit and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna celebrate and have some ice cream or something.
Nice.
So
Homemade ice cream.
So everybody, oh yes, and I'm gonna dance too. Yes, I will dance tonight. Thank you,
Oh,
Lynn. I won't go anywhere, but I will dance here in my house. So yeah, it'll be
awesome.
fun.
All right. Well,
All right,
thanks,
everybody. We'll
everybody.
see you soon, next 2 weeks from now.
Take care.
And mahalo.
Da, 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 da. And it is finished.